That's good.
It's okay?
Yeah.
It's okay. So I'm very happy and honored to have with us Claudio, the director of the Nyingma Center in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, who is kindly offered this presentation on a very special project they made in the center about prayer flags with the Nyingma design prayer flags by Tartan Tulku. I had the privilege to meet Claudio in Odeon, where we stayed for about a month. So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And then Claudio suggested that he will be happy to offer this presentation for the Nyingma Group in Israel and the audience in Israel. So here we are. So thank you everybody for joining. And Claudio, please.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Isaac. I want to say that the honor is mine. I'm very honored and happy to be here with you. It was really very precious encounter, our personal time together at Odeon and also at Radnaling for a retreat, for both two different retreats. And so I'm very happy to share with you some of our experience here in Brazil, talking about the prayer flags and how we work with them and how we have been promoting them for the world peace. So just very happy. It's going to be very informal talk. I made this presentation to help guide me, but please be very welcome to ask questions if you like, or if anything, any comments or suggestions would be nice. And it's important to say that today is the last day of our holy month, which we call the Sagadawa, which is actually the fourth month of the Tibetan calendar, according to the lunar calendar. And so Sagadawa means exactly 4 moons. And during this month, we celebrate the birth, the enlightenment, and the parinirvana of Shakyamuni Buddha, Buddha of our times. So I thought it was very precious and auspicious if you could make this talk happen yet within the Sagadawa. So it's the last day, but it's still the Sagadawa, because during the Sagadawa, all of our actions, they kind of multiply their merit and they expand their benefits. So we all believe that during this month, everything we do for the good and for the bad. So it's good to stick with the good actions, virtuous actions. So everything we do, we can kind of potentialize and magnify it, the merit. So it's nice that we are here together. You are practicing at least patience, listening to me, and we all here with Dharma purpose. So that's very auspicious. And for that, I invite you to generate kind of an intention. We all here in Rio, we always follow this step of practice that's called the Tampasum, the 3 excellence. So we kind of generate an intention. An intention that all beings can be happy and all beings can deserve the causes of happiness. All beings can be kind of free from suffering and from the cause of suffering. So, but for the moment, just let a thought of love and compassion kind of invade your thought, your mind, your heart. Just be very relaxed and think of good things. And let a thought of love be with you, so you can all touch this love and compassion. The love is our genuine wish that all beings can have and deserve happiness and cause of happiness. Thought of compassion is the thought that all beings should be free from suffering and free from the causes of suffering. So as we generate this intention, which goes throughout time and space, I invite you to, if it's okay if you don't feel like, but that's a prayer. It's a traditional prayer that we do, exactly expressing this, that we wish that all beings can have, can deserve the happiness and the cause of happiness, and they can all be free from suffering and the cause of suffering, that they can all live in joy and equanimity. So, but because it's Sagadawa, and I like to do it traditionally and chant it in Tibetan, because it makes it more powerful. So if you can just join me with this intention in mind, so that is all part of our practice here. Sam Cham Tam Che Dewa Dan Dewe Gyu Dan Den Pa Gyu Che Dung Yao Dan Dung Yao Gi Gyu Dan Tra Wa Gyu Che Dung Yao Man Pe Dewa Dan Mi Tra Wa Gyu Che Ye ring chak dan ni dan drawe tan yon sat met pa la ne pa che. So let the words of the prayer just reverberate and go into time and space. So I thought of, I always like to start my kind of talks and with a reflection, or I used to say a starting question, or, so just to make us think a little bit of, and I thought it would be nice if we just think for ourselves, what's the purpose of a national flag? Since we're going to start and talk about prayer flags and their importance, there's no right or wrong answer. We don't even have to reply to that, but just think of what's the purpose of a national flag. I know we all have the flags, and I got this image of both Brazil's and Israel's flag, and I think we all have kind of a the same relation with these flags, and of course they have a special representation because they kind of represent our countries. And I don't know what's the feeling you have when you look at your national flag. Here in Brazil, it's been, many different purposes, but somehow, and that's where I want to get, it goes also for the prayer flags. Somehow, the flags carry some kind of a purpose or some kind of meaning, and maybe can be different from all of us, but when we see a flag, a national flag, we kind of feel the love for our country, the respect for our people, or sometimes, we can feel some kind of awkward feelings or feelings strange. In Brazil recently, our national flags have been used in many different purposes, and, we've been kind of having some difficulties in the politics for that. But anyway, it's always a national flag. And what I want to bring up to this reflection is that, although not for everybody, but when you see a flag, a national flag, it carries on and it conveys a kind of a meaning of citizenship, a meaning of, the belonging to a nation, to a country. And maybe there is some phrase or sentence written on the flag, like in Brazil, it's written Ordem and Progresso, which means order and progress, or like the one of your country in Israel, there's nothing written, but when you see it, when I see it, I immediately relate it to Israel and somehow to the people of Israel. So I think what I want to bring to this reflection is that those symbols, they carry on, or they convey a kind of meaning of belonging, of citizenship, even though we may not understand what's written or what's the drawings or the symbols. And somehow this goes also for the prayer flags, prayer flags for the world peace. Prayer flags are designed especially by our head lama, the head lama of our organization, who's called Tartan Tuku Rinpoche, Venerable Tartan Tuku Rinpoche. And of course, there is a very ancient tradition and knowledge beyond and behind all these creations. And they all have meanings, some meanings that are understandable by our conceptual mind, and some are not. And you don't have to be a Buddhist to believe, or you don't have to be a Buddhist to relate to the flag, and you don't have to be a Buddhist to receive the blessings and the benefits of the flags. What's been said and taught in the tradition and the teachings, that they make, they do their job anyhow, despite of our beliefs or not. Of course, if we have this kind of feeling towards a sacred symbol like that, which is sacred for us as Buddhists, it's fine, it's better somehow, because we kind of feel touched by that. But it works anyway. And this is because there is a very specific and ancient tradition on that. I mean, on the purpose of these flags. Rinpoche has written many texts about that, and that's the knowledge he's been sharing with us for a long time. He created first very big flags, and then we started. It was from our initiative from Rio that we kind of asked him to start making smaller flags, and we started with the ones that are very well known in Tibet, and maybe they are the most popular ones that we all find, which are called the wind horses. And I'll have some pictures of them here. Are those fly flags in different colors: white, blue, red, and green and yellow. And they carry, they convey some kind of mantras and protections. So we started asking Rinpoche about making them back in 2005, 2006, and he allowed us to do that. And from then on, he started making all different kinds of designs for specific flags, which you call Nyingma Dharma flags or Nyingma peace flags. That's how they've been called. And Rinpoche has kindly called them the Brazilian flags, which makes us very proud of them. But anyway, he's written so many articles about that, and he's been sharing with us the purpose and the meaning of the sacred symbols, the sacred purpose of these symbols, which are, preserved in the ancient Dharma traditions. And I think you are all acquainted with these words. The Dharma means the teachings, the way, the path we walk to. There was, kind of a guidance from the Buddha and from all great masters that followed the Buddha. And the belief is that the way they are made, the way they are designed and realized and made, they generate positive energy, because they have the colors, they have the symbols, they have the mantras, they have special letters, and they create harmony in nature, which is very important to bring this kind of balance with the elements of universe, with the elements in the inner, inner earth and aura and everything. And it's been said also that they kind of clear away accumulated karma of beings, bad karma of beings, because they have this power, this purpose of kind of cleaning that up. Because when the wind blows the flags, or when the sun shines through it, the letters, the teachings, the images that are printed on the flags, they kind of reverberate that energy throughout space and time. It may be sometimes difficult to believe in that. I understand thoroughly, but if we can just kind of let go of our judgments, of our the necessity of our mind to explain everything in kind of a cognitive way or in a kind of a conceptual way, we can feel that. I mean, it's just a matter of let go a little bit of our usual judgments and let the flags and the symbols do their job. So that's what Rinpoche says. The way they operate goes beyond rationality and maybe cannot be just explained by simple and ordinary mind, but it's been created by beings and masters which, with very realized masters with great knowledge and great experience. That's why we all believe and follow those steps. And so according to the scriptures, according to the teachings, that the prayers that are written on the text, that's an image of a beautiful Nyingma peace flag or a beautiful prayer flag. They are all different colors, all different images, and Rinpoche has been creating hundreds of them throughout these last years. And there are some are specific ones for different purposes because they have the specific images. But according to the scriptures, the prayers, the mantras, the images are printed on the flags. They, when the wind blows, the flags are fluttered on the wind. They generate the sacred healing power because of, it goes on movement and has an effect in the whole environment, in all beings, not only human beings, but animals, beings that we don't see, micro beings and everything. They all can have this kind of energy. They all can deserve and profit of this effective and good energy. And we just have to let it go. I mean, we don't have to keep asking, oh, is it true? Is it correct? But if you just let go a little bit of the judgments and just feel it, the energy that they can somehow, bring to the environment around us. And, just a little bit of the flags, and most of the flags have this kind of images on top of them. And as I say, the images, they vary a lot depending on the kind of deity the Rinpoche's designed the flags. So you can have Tara flags, you can have Shakyamuni Buddha flags, you can have Guru Padmasambhava, which is the second Buddha flags, and all kinds of this. So they usually have the images on top, which is not a rule, but usually they've done that this way. They all have this kind of 5 lines that frame the images and the scriptures and the text, which are important, because they are connected with the 5 with the elements. They are connected with the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. They have many different reasons and purposes, but they all have this kind of 5 lines which frame the flags, kind of close them into this frame. And most of them have these special letters in the middle of the text, which are kind of highlighted here, which are called Dakini letters. And Dakini are some Buddhist deities, female Buddhist deities, which is very nice. I don't know how many women are there out there, but it's very important. The Dakini Rio Center is a mainly female Buddhist center. So I'm one of the few men here in this center. And I know there is Brenda, who is also watching the lecture, and also Luis. They are both students of us here. So, but it's mainly female, many women here are gathered in Rio Center, and most of the Nyingma centers, I guess. But these letters are called Dakini letters. Dakinis are these female deities, which they are very special ones, because Dakini means the ones that walk on the sky. They're kind of Buddhist deities that they just can fly or just can walk on air, because they have enlightened minds, and they are Dharma protectors. I mean, all they do is to protect the Dharma, to protect the teachings, and to make sure that we can all have them available to practice. So those letters are very special ones, and they are usually printed on the flags so that this energy, the energy of the Dakinis, which are very nice, very female, very delicate, very beautiful, they can be spread also throughout time and space. So it's very important to have those Dakini letters because they are Dharma protectors. And as I said, the idea is that when the sunlight reflects, or if the wind moves, the fabric of the flags, which are the ones we make are very thin, so that the wind can go through the threads, and also the sunlight can shine and reflect, and the energy, the colors, the letters, the shapes, everything is transmitted, is conveyed to the world in a very beautiful way, in a very delicate and magical way. So, all the benefits can be spread throughout space and time. So that's how they function. That's the mechanism which is beyond these flags. And again, as I said, we don't have to believe that with our conceptual mind, but if we just let go a little bit, and we can feel that, as again, as we, it's just the way we relate to the flags. And those are the winged horses, I said, which are maybe the most popular ones that are, known in Tibetan culture and everything. The flags, they communicate their sacred message to the elements of earth, water, fire, air, and space. And those elements are connected with the colors. I may not know them by heart, so I'm not going to attempt to say that, but the colors have a relation to those elements, and those elements are gathered together when the flags are when the wind blows the flags or the sun reflects them, and they kind of activate the power of these elements, and they transmit those vibrations throughout the cosmos. So that's the main reason and the purpose of those flags. So as I said, here in Rio, we started making those ones, those prayer flags, which are called the winged horses. In Tibetan, they say they are the lunta, and they have a special figure in the center, which is the Kesar king, and they have 4 animals on the corners, which are the kind of Dharma protectors also. And those are very simple, so they have mantras on them, on their surface. Either the money mantra, which is a very, very popular and well-known mantra in Tibet, Om Mani Padme Hum Pri. And also they have the Vajra Guru mantra, which is the very popular also Guru Padmasambhava's mantra for transforming obstacles, and which is the Om Ahum Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. So those are the simple ones, and after we started producing them and presenting them and offering them to Rinpoche, he liked them so much that he started designing all different kinds of flags, like the ones I showed you before, the white ones, and he's been given them generously, graciously on the World Peace Ceremony in Bodh Gaya every January, February, the Nyingma Mono Chenmo. And so we've been through this last, say, 10 or 12 years, producing flags for him to give them. So now we are starting production of 6,000 flags among us here, Rio and São Paulo, so that we're going to be given in next moment general. Those are specific ones he's designed. So, but those winged horses, I think I sent you some, right? Exactly of those. So they are nice, and they just just hang them on your window. I sent them to you, didn't I?
Exactly. Yes.
Excellent. Yes. So
I have them.
You just we just have to hang them wherever you like. It's nice to hang them outside so that they can have this kind of power with the wind and sunlight, so that they can do their job. So here's some images of flags. Those are most images taken from Odeon, which is Odeon. And so Lisa, we have just been, Itzhak and I, for a month retreat in February. And not only the flags we make, which are those, you can see the lonta, the wind horses, you can see all kinds of Nyingma flags, and all kinds of those traditional ones, which are made with a different technique, kind of a silk screen. I'm going to talk a little bit the ones we make, how they're made. But at Odeon, you see flags everywhere. Everywhere there are flags hung and being spread by the wind, and and they have all kinds of walkways, and everywhere. It's kind of a beautiful protection. Rinpoche says those are our weapons, to counteract all kinds of violence and disturbances and suffering in the world. So those are our shield of protection, so that we hang them for peace, we hang them for spreading, good vibes and good energy throughout the cosmos and throughout the world. So that's very nice when you walk in a place like that and you find all kinds of different prayer flags and everything. So a little bit more of the knowledge that is said, that the energies of sacred symbols, they operate in, as I said, in many kind of different levels, to support this kind of holiness, to support this kind of well-being. And it's kind of a little technical here, but according to our tradition, this kind of symbols, because they embody the qualities of the Buddha, they are said to be the sacred energies of the symbols. They are the qualities of the Nirmanakaya, which is the physical manifestation of the Buddha. Its physical being, the one we know as a Buddha. The image we see as Shakyamuni Buddha. And I see there is someone which has on the screen, not the Shakyamuni Buddha, but the healing Buddha as an image. So that's the Nirmanakaya, the human form of the Buddha. And the flags, they kind of have the same energy because they embody that, and we can see them, we can touch them. So that's why they are considered the physical manifestation of the enlightened ones. And the beauty, the power that they express, they come from, they have that power because of the practice of the good, of the six perfections, which we call the paramitas. So they embody that because they are made in such a way with, specific colors, specific texts, specific images, that they emanate the beauty and power of which are accumulated from the practice of the perfections. The perfection of wisdom and compassion that are manifested in many, many different ways, to soothe, to nourish sentient beings, to kind of bring balance to the environment, and special, very special, to heal the wounds of history, to heal the wounds of the world. That's very important. And again, it goes much, much beyond our ordinary mind, trying to explain everything, trying to understand every little detail in a kind of a conceptual way, because it's been like that. I mean, it's been made and they have been created under great knowledge of enlightened beings, of enlightened masters who had this knowledge, who had this power to create those, to gather those elements in just one, small flag, or in just one prayer flag. So that's why they have this energy. That's why they have this power. That's why they work in this way. So just here, just a little bit of how we started making those flags. I thought it was nice to have this timeline because we've been doing that for, since 2005. So it's kind of a long time. And I'm very happy to share that because I was the one who started those, with TAP. When we thought of making those wind horses, I talked to the person that was the director of TAP at that time, and she said, let's do it. And she gave me so much effort and helped me to produce that. And of course, Rinpoche approved of the design. So we started making those very specific ones. And we started making those for TAP. TAP is a petal of our organization who takes care of, Tibetan refugees and reconstruction of old monasteries and everything. So that was nice to start making them for TAP, so that we kind of entered a flow of merit, a flow of blessings, which was very important for us to flourish, to have this project flourishing at our center here. And then Rinpoche designed those that are my favorite ones, which are called the Amitabha prayer flags, which is a set of 5 specific flags. And Amitabha is a very important Buddha of our lineage. He's the Buddha connected to the West direction. He is the Buddha of the lasting light, the infinite light. He's a very special Buddha for all of our lineage because, you know, Padmasambhava comes from Amitabha. And so we have a great connection with this Buddha of the infinite light, which is called Amitabha. And Amitabha's flags, which are those on the picture here, those yellow ones, they are a set of 5 flags and are numbered because they have an order. They have 2 very important purposes. First of all, they were made in very ancient times, but they were made for the longevity and health of the Dalai Lama, who is the main political and religious leader of the Tibetan people. So they have specific purpose for the longevity and good health of the Dalai Lama, and also for the environment, for the balance of the whole environment. They are made, the prayers they have are to bring this kind of balance to the environment. And then Rinpoche, after that, he started designing, and he never stopped designing Nyingma peace prayer flags in 2006 to offer to the Molan, and ever since we have produced over, I'm sure it's over 6,000 flags, perhaps we have made also almost 100,000 flags since then till now, so it's been very nice to be able to do that and produce. And those flags are taken to the Himalayas, to all different kinds of regions, and people just hang them on trees, hang them on the porch, on the, wherever they feel, on the windows and everything, so that they can share and bring those kind of energy. And now I thought of just, sharing with you a little bit the steps of producing those flags, because it's nice, and they are all made here in Brazil by volunteers that come to our center and to go to São Paulo Center, but they come here to work. There's a great importance of working with sacred art, because it's a good way to train your mind, to connect with the teachings, to connect with the symbols. And that's a very important practice that Rinpoche has offered to all of us. It's time when we practice with sacred art. It's a nice time to watch your mind in action, to see your patterns, and to transform everything into good things, into well-being. So it's important to work with that. And that's one of the most popular projects we have here in Rio, which is producing flags and making them ready to be sold, like we have for those here that are sold, and also to produce them for Rinpoche so that he can offer them at the Molan channel. And the steps are usually those: we prepare and cut the fabric, we stamp them in a specific sublimation technique, kind of transfer, sublimation. They go to a very hot kind of press, heavy press, and with the heat, the paper, which has the stamping, the images and the text on it, the ink is transformed into gas, kind of and then it's transferred to a physical surface, which are the fabric of the flags. And then we have to cut the stamped flags, we have to seal, clean, sew, fold, and dry. So I'm going to show a little bit of that. And here are some of our volunteers working in Rio. You might see them all wearing masks because those pictures were taken yet during the pandemic. So, but here they are preparing the fabric. So they kind of roll them and prepare to cut the flags in the correct size. We buy rolls and rolls of fabric. The fabric is specific, also has to be very thin and has to be 100% polyester so that the transfer can go into it. And so usually they are preparing the fabric they cut, and then they go for the sublimation, the transferring. So we have this kind of machine here in our center. It's a big press, and then when the press heats the transfer paper onto the fabric, it transfers the sublimation. The ink goes to the fabric. So that's very nice. And the magic happens when the ink, when the press hits the paper on the fabric. And then you go, as you can see, and you know, we have the paper, then the fabric is made, and the stamped, and the sublimation is nice because you can use it's much better than silk screen. First of all, because it's easy to work. You can produce in scales, big scales, like 6,000 easily, and but also you have more accuracy in the details because when printing Tibetan letters, they are so small and they have so many details, like head letters, tail letters, or things like that. So it's nice because the transfer, the way it's made, it's possible to have very, very small and fine details stamped on the flag. So that's very important. So that's mostly the sublimation. So you can see the seam, the foam coming from the machine, from the heat, and people working. You usually have those works, and people come and volunteers come. We have kind of on weekends, lots of people come. So you do like a task force and make all of them together. So it's very important. And then they go for cutting. Once the fabric is stamped and printed, they go for cutting, because they have to be cut specific on the edges, so that they can be sewn and on the strings and everything. So as I said, you can see mainly female people coming to our center. So that's one of the volunteers, Eloa, she's a coordinator of this kind of project here for us. She's teaching, showing them how to seal. And to seal is because the fabric is made out of polyester. It goes to also to a kind of electric machine that cuts the edge and also seals because it heats the polyester and seals, making it a nice edge for the flags. So, and then they go for sewing, and the flags are sewn on the strings, because either they can be sewn individually, or maybe if the flags are sets of flags like the Amitabha, which have 5 flags, so they are all sewn on a string specifically, the 5 flags in the correct order. So the same happens with the lunta, the wind horses. So sewing is also very important, and it's all made here in Rio also by volunteers. And that's when we started putting the flags on the strings to be ready to be hung. And then when they're ready, the sets are folded nicely, because we sell them so much here, it's so popular. People like to have this wind horses, so they are nicely folded all together, so that they can go onto the kind of package to be ready to be sewn or given away or offered to someone. So those are the main steps of making and producing the flags. And again, Rinpoche taught us that the Dharma symbols, they give us a way to elevate our mind and stimulate light of awareness. Because it's very important. Rinpoche has written that and taught that in many ways. If you want to bring the Dharma to a place where there is no Dharma yet, where there is no tradition like Brazil, it's mainly a Christian country, and Buddhist is popular here, but it's not a Buddhist country. And you have to bring the symbols. You have to make the symbols alive so that the teachings can be available, and that we can have a proper environment so that the teachings can flourish. So, and that's importance. And the symbols give us this way to stimulate, to elevate our mind. And the blessings that follow, they are universally beneficial, not only for human beings, as I said, but for all kinds of realms. That in Buddhist cosmology, we believe in 6 different realms. It's kind of the Buddhist cosmology, and human beings is just one of them. Like animal realm is just another one, like God's realm is another one. So the blessings follow, and they go universally to all different kinds of realms, and the blessings, and they help to heal, and they help to relieve the burden and the suffering of all the realms. And in the light of their significance for all the realms, for all beings that they are, they, because of the beauty, because of the significance, because of the letters, because of the mantras, they empower this kind of environment with empowered by the light lineage, the way they taught us to do, and they also bring protection and they preserve the environment, they preserve the blessings, and they offer benefits to all beings. So that's according to the tradition, that's according to the teachings. And again, we just have to believe that without all kinds of judgmentals and all kinds of conceptual minds that you usually apply to anything, which is okay, but it's easier for us if we can just let go a little bit of our judgment. This was very important and very nice here. We had a few years ago, just before the pandemic, some practitioners from Rio and São Paulo, that they went to the rainforest, as a request by Rinpoche to offer prayer flags and also to offer small tsatsas, which I'm sure you know, because Isaac was very much involved in the seeding of healing tsatsas, and to bury tsatsas there and to hang flags on the Amazon forest, on the rainforest, to protect, to bring the blessings. And it's amazing how those indigenous people, how they received the flags, how they liked them, how they welcome all of them, and they started hanging in all different kinds of places and trees, and you see a big trees like those in Amazon that they kind of put up, so they just hang up some flags. So here again, there were lots of celebrations with people from Rio and São Paulo that went to those kind of tribes, indigenous tribes in the north of Brazil, to just bring flags. And it's amazing how a very completely different culture, but how they receive those presents, those gifts. And they also, the indigenous people, they also have so many different ways to protect the earth, to protect the beings of the environment. And they all also do their own kinds of traditions and kind of ceremonies and kind of things that they do to bless those beings. So if we think of that, there is a correspondence, there is a similarity, there is a kind of a relation to different sacred symbols, which is sacred for the indigenous people, which are sacred for us here as Buddhists, which is sacred for those, for you as a Jewish tradition or Christian tradition. So that's always a relation to that. And if you open our hearts to receive that, it's fine. It's very nice. It's very beautiful. We don't have to question everything and know the significance of everything. So it's just an example how this ancient people, indigenous people, which are, the ones that are on this earth here in Brazil for a very, very long time, and they have so many knowledge about preserving the nature, preserving the environment, much more than we all do. So, and here are some more pictures. Yes, it's like.
I just would like to add in the Nyingma Group, Nyingma Group Israel website, there is a page of planting seeds of healing, and there is also a link to a video that was made with the group from Rio and São Paulo, who went to the rainforest with to meet with the indigenous people and offer them the prayer flags and the tzatsa. And it was amazing to read the letter from Rinpoche to the woman. And she said, Rinpoche really understands our concerns. We have the same heart, we have the same feeling, we have the same wishes. And it was so amazing to see people are coming from these two very, very different cultures. But when you see when the open heart, human heart is open, it's no difference. It's exactly the same. Rinpoche from the mountains of Tibet, in the woman shaman, in the rains of the rainforest of the Amazon, exactly the same. They have the same understanding. It was amazing.
You're right, exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say. We're all human beings, so some way we're all related to that, and that's it. I mean, they have their tradition, we have ours, and you have ours. It's just a way to connect us together, and that's right. The cacique, which is the chief person, and the chief person on the indigenous people, he was really happy to see that, and he got that said. Rinpoche has the same person of us, and that's right. That's what the rainforest needs so badly. So here's some more images of the flags, at Odeon and different places in India and different places, all beautifully and hung and giving this kind of protection. Oh, that's a picture of the I didn't take it out the symbol. I'm sorry. Of the Nyingma at Amsterdam, the Nyingma Center in Amsterdam. Also here a little bit video, and how here that's a beautiful image when the flags are distributed at the Nyingma Monan Channel. So that's a beautiful way that Rinpoche presents and offers those flags for protection, for for the healing and everything. So that's very, very beautiful, the way that the monks and the lay people and everybody receives those and at the moment channel. So it's nice because we see that our job, our work is being distributed and given freely to the monks and nuns and all the lay people and lay sangha and monastic sangha that go to India for that. So and here's a picture of our center. We have that's a stupa, which is a very important and traditional Buddhist monument, which enacts the enlightened mind of the Buddha. As a matter of fact, the Buddha himself taught how to make a stupa. And we are very fortunate because we have two big stupas at the Central Plaza here in our center. And that's the enlightened stupa, and it's beautiful because it's aligned with this beautiful hallmark in Rio, which is called the Corcovado stone, and up there you can see, because there's a prayer flag and prayer wheel here, but that's the Christ. It was maybe the most popular monument in Rio and Brazil. So our center is just this view. I hope you can come sometime here to see that. So that's beautiful how the flags, fly on the wind and everything. So yeah, you can feel this kind of energy going through, and when you immediately come here at our center. And not only here, but I haven't been there to the Himalayas yet, but I know many people that have, and went to Tibet, and then you can see strings and strings of prayer flags being hung and flying with the wind everywhere. So bringing and sharing and spreading those kind of blessings and benefits throughout the world and through space and time. So it's amazing and a beautiful image of the Asian Himalayas and Asian valleys. So I thought of to finish the lecture. I also prepared this kind of there's a beautiful practice, and again, I'm just going to invite you to join me with a open heart, but that's a beautiful kind of practice that I found that was given by a very important Nyingma master called Patru Rinpoche, which was a very realized and specific Nyingma master. And he gave us he taught a brief called the wind horse practice for Tara of Tara. Tara is also an important deity in the Tibetan Buddhist. She's, very, very compassionate being, and she's related to the longevity. She's the one that saves us. Tara means the savior, the one that frees us releases us from burden, releases us from all kinds of suffering. And there is this practice for the so that the power of the wind horses can be powered by the Tara mantra, the Tara power. And Tibetans are really, really very devoted to Tara, and because of that, so are we. And there's beautiful stories about Tara. One of them is that Tara is the one deity that she promised she would always be a female. So she will always be a female deity, no matter how many times she would have to be born, but that was a commitment. And so it's beautiful practice. I'm just, gonna say that to you, and you can just join me with the intention in your heart that all beings without exception can benefit from it. Lume chukson chidang yetsona gyayun pakma drome jintui dagi tseso bodyo nedragnam yanyo dadan yagi tsojintu kepa kyache wantan lumtanam Nyan paso jin ye ju gyawalo Chije lek pelantu drawada Sering nek meredan den you So it's just a practice that says that all good fortune and all merits can be with all of us, and all be healed by within and rejoin, and may whatever we do turn out well, and may long life, good health, peace, and happiness be ours. So that's really my great wish to all of you, to all of us, that we can all have long and healthy life and deserve peace and happiness every time. So since we started by generating intention, and before we go for questions or comments and everything, I'd like to invite you to close this practice so that we can be sure that the merit you generate, and you practicing patience, listening to me and listening to the Dharma, and all of us here together with a common intention to benefit all beings, we can be sure that this will happen. This will go into a flow of merit, that all beings will be benefited. So let's chant Om Ahum 3 times in the exhale. Om So I thank you so much for your participation. Well, I'm trying to learn how to say that in Hebrew, but I can't memorize that anymore. But I thank you for your participation, for your being here, for your patience, and thank you, many, many, many thanks to you, my dear Itzhak, for arranging that, for for inviting me and for allowing me to share this very little knowledge, but the one that I like so much, and I'm so happy to share with you. And here I am. Maybe if you have anything to ask or to comment or anything you like to know, I'd be very happy to say or to reply to you if there is any kind of a
Thank you very, very much, Claudio. It was really,
thank you, Isaac. Thank you. Very nice.
So wonderful that you offer this great presentation and to share this. It's really like a great blessing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
May your energies and good heart and wishings will blow here and all the rest of the world with some goodness and peace to all of us. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And thank you, no, yes, thank you. It's been nice. I hope I can have the good merit and fortune, good fortune to go to Israel once. So maybe, who knows? Let's start planning that.
Yeah, we plant the seed. So maybe if people maybe they can open the camera if you like, or
if you like,
questions or comments.
Just be very, that's okay for me. Yeah, I know everything. And yes, Tashiri, and you know, I kind of started a campaign last year or something, like we call the one time, because came from this practice from Patrul Rinpoche. This word one time in Tibetan means like you know, something that's very positive and powerful, and we started this campaign like hang a flag for peace, because you know, Brazil is a nice country. Rio is a nice city, beautiful and touristic, but there's lots of suffering here. You know, we have all kinds of violence. It's not easy. I mean, all kinds of difficulties in different communities, and it's really, it's a nice place to live, but you have to be very careful, and there's all kinds of violence that are common in big cities, but so we started that to hang a flag for peace, you know, just so that we can spread our wish and to convey our wish and our intention so that peace can prevail. And I think it's very nice that we could all join this kind of intention, you know, just to hang it. I know it's just a gesture, and there's much more things we have to do, but if we can hang a prayer flag, of course, you know, a flag with this kind of power to preserve, to transmit, to spread good vibes and blessings, I'm sure we can do something that will bring peace to people. So that's a nice thing I think we could all do together, just hang a prayer flag to spread the peace among ourselves.
So I would like to suggest, as Claudio mentioned, so he kindly sent a few prayer flags. So it's not a lot, but it can be a starting. So if some of you would like to have a prayer flag, please contact me and we can make the arrangement that I will send it to you with pleasure. So, and then we can order maybe more and we can see it. It's a wonderful gesture, and Claudio mentioned it several times that the difficulties of the conceptual mind sometimes to open up to these gestures, but I felt if I just can briefly share my past in Nyingma, I started with the more secular teachings like Kumne, that is the Tibetan yoga, skillful means that are open to all people from all traditions. You cannot see them the Buddhist background. They are based on the Buddhist wisdom, on Nyingma wisdom, but they are open to people from all faiths and backgrounds. But then gradually, I became more and more open and appreciating and accepting the more traditional and more, let's say, esoteric teachings. And I just saw how it works and how it's, even without, I cannot give a scientific background because I have a scientific background and I have a master's degree in science. So I had these two aspects in myself, but I could really feel it. And when I was in Odeon and I had a tzatzas and all this, I could really connect, and it took me and benefited me even more than what my conceptual mind could offer. So I think it was a gradual process for me to open up to this different aspect on the energy level that I think it's very beautiful in the Nyingma tradition to work very much on the energy of our body, of the environment, and to see that it happens, something happens. It's like a good music, like a good heart, like an inspiration, that something uplift us to different dimension.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Okay, my dear. So thank you a lot. Thank you all for coming and joining. Thank you again, Zach. And
Thank you so much, Claudio.
yeah, I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claudio.
Anand. Yeah.
Just a second,
Very, very
Claudio.
much.
I sent you
Sure.
some photos of flags around my flat, so you can show it around. I sent you in mail 2 photos, so you can send it to the speaker with thanks.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Vade, you will send me a photo because I couldn't hear you well.
I did already in your mail.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye
That's very
Thank
nice.
you very
Thank you.
much.
bye. Okay.
Yes.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Thank you,
okay.
Claudio.
Thank you, it's
everybody.
All the
Thank you.
best.
Okay. See you then. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.